In the current canon, it didn't take long for Darth Vader to learn of his new master Darth Sidious' abilities with Force Lightning. Immediately after Episode 3, Vader would unleash his rage upon Sidious, using the Force to push him up against the wall of the medical facility, assigning a significant amount of blame to Sidious for the death of Padme. Ultimately, Sidious would get Vader to recognize that a new path was before him with the dark side, as Vader eventually chose to live and join the Sith Lord in obtaining power. But Vader's outburst did not go unpunished by Sidious. Raising his hands in front of him, Sidious unleashed a violent barrage of Force Lightning upon Vader. While it wouldn't be enough to overwhelm Vader's new suit and cybernetics, Sidious made it clear the attack was merely a warning. If Vader ever used the Force in such a way against him again, Sidious would finish what Obi-Wan began on Mustafar. In our video here, we're going to look at a similar scene within Legends, where Sidious threatened Vader with Force Lightning and made it clear exactly what would happen if he used it. As depicted within the novel Dark Lord: The Rise of Darth Vader, while this scene wouldn't occur in the immediate aftermath of Episode 3, and we wouldn't see Vader actually endure an attack by Force Lightning, I think we can say this is the first time Sidious would threaten it in Legends, and create something analogous to the situation seen in canon. Only months after Order 66, Sidious would give his apprentice Vader a mission that required him to travel to Alderaan. Vader's target was Fang Zar, a senator from the planet of Cern Prime in the Colonies region of the galaxy, and a signatory to the Petition of 2000 that requested Palpatine to give up his emergency powers in the final days of the Clone War. The senator was initially detained and questioned by the Empire and instructed not to leave Coruscant, and so his presence on Alderaan prompted fears that he might create dissension in the outlying systems of the galaxy. Sidious wasn't entirely concerned about the situation in truth, but he nonetheless saw it as an opportunity to further Vader's path with the dark side. Therefore, Sidious sent Vader to Alderaan to locate and escort Senator Zar back to Coruscant. Only Vader's mission didn't go exactly as planned. Although there was some Jedi involvement that attempted to help the senator, Vader ultimately prevented his escape by using a saber throw that resulted in the senator's death. Traveling back to Coruscant, Vader would report the results of his mission directly to Sidious, confidently telling his master the senator would no longer be a concern. However, Sidious noted a new concern as a result of Vader's actions. The death of Senator Zar could create sympathy within the Senate. Vader tried to argue he had no choice, but Sidious pointed out a Sith Lord against a senator was, or at least should have been, no match. Vader then became enraged, and with venom behind his words, began to seemingly question Sidious before allowing his words to trail off. But as he would tell Vader, Sidious knew the destination of his words. It wouldn't be the first of their confrontations following Mustafar, but it would then explode into their most openly hostile one by that point, at least as seen in the Rise of Darth Vader novel. Angered, Sidious questioned whether Vader had already become bored or resentful of his position in executing the Emperor's commands, believing he would be a better Emperor. When asked of this directly, Vader, who was so enraged by that point that he was breathing deeply, only answered that he was the apprentice and Sidious was the master. Sidious recognized the wording used by Vader, finding it interesting his apprentice didn't call Sidious his master. Sidious then got to the point, asking Vader if he wished to strike him down, and when his apprentice merely answered no, Sidious questioned what it was that was preventing him from doing so. After using Obi-Wan as an example of someone who didn't understand the power of the dark side, Vader had to admit that he also wasn't fully aware of its true power. Sidious seized upon this answer from Vader, and as he confirmed that he possessed powers that Vader lacked, Sidious raised his arms and extended his hands as if he was threatening to summon and then unleash Sith lightning upon Vader, just as he did so within canon. While in this position, Sidious was certain both of them knew he could easily overwhelm the weak electrical systems of Vader's cybernetics. Although Vader would stand his ground and tell Sidious he didn't fear death, he would ultimately recognize he continued on his path with Sidious and the Sith so that he might become more powerful. At this, Sidious lowered his hands and asked one final time why he wouldn't attempt to strike him down, with Vader answering Sidious was his path to power, and in truth, Vader needed him for a time, just like every Sith apprentice had to learn from a Sith master. Sidious greatly appreciated the exchange, smiling in satisfaction and telling Vader he had done well, as he was now ready to release his anger, with Vader using the coming weeks to sharpen his ability to utilize his rage. And that's really the interesting aspect to this scene. While on the surface, the exchange appears to be one of two Sith Lords exploding at each other out of frustration, with Sidious actually threatening to use Force lightning against his apprentice, it was really a significant teaching moment from Sidious. Sidious understood very early on after Mustafar, and even before Vader's defeat, that two Sith were necessary to perpetuate the Sith Order, and to push Sidious towards further mastery of the dark side. Because of this, Vader had to develop a desire to overthrow Sidious, a desire that had been extinguished after his defeat to Obi-Wan. Ultimately then, the exchange allowed Vader to recognize what his true goal would be. He would learn from Sidious and realize that he was the path to Vader's acquisition of power. This was the way of the Sith, and would eventually help to reawaken the incredible power within Vader, which in the end would help bolster Sidious's goals with the dark side as well. So there we have it, how Sidious threatened Vader with Force lightning within Legends after Episode 3. Thank you very much to all of the Patreon members of Star Wars Reading Club, as your support is so greatly appreciated. You can find all of our social media links and a link to our Star Wars gaming channel in the description below for updates and even more Star Wars content. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions. Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. If not for me... For early Sith lessons.